Greetings everyone and welcome to a little bit different video. This is not a draft walkthrough, but this is instead a presentation basically where I rank the 10 hybrid disguise creatures of Murders at Karlov Manor for limited purposes, so draft and sealed. This is not about constructed worthiness of those cards. There are always card cycles in sets and multiple of them even, and I figured that it might be fun to do a series of videos where I rank the various cycles. I have some ideas about the next videos, but these won't be frequent videos, maybe once a week at most, and I will see how these are. What's the reception like, and then based on that I will continue doing this, or maybe not bothering with them in future. Anyway, let's just start with the stuff here. So we have 10 hybrid disguise creatures at MKM. All of them are playable, so even the 10th spot card here is, I think, quite playable. But the valuation here more accurately reflects on how eager am I to pick these cards, or how easily I will cut these from my decks if I have picked them during the draft. So first of all, this Fairy Snoop, which is in the 10th place. I don't pick it very highly, and I often can cut it from my blue-black decks, even from the blue-black decks, not just from decks that cannot cast the front side. And speaking of which, the Fairy Snoop is on the 10th spot because it is not very good when you only pay the front half. 3 mana, 1/4 flyer, not very good. For the other cards, there are, I think, almost all the other cards in the list are something you don't mind casting with the front side up. Here you basically want to always go for the disguise and then reveal. But the problem with that is that yes, you do net a card, but it's only one card and you have a 1/4 and you pay total of 6 mana. That is not mana efficient at all, and that's why I don't consider the Fairy Snoop very good card, and gets the 10th spot on this list for that reason. 6 mana is too much for what you get. At 9th spot we have a Shady Informant, another black card, which at the face value is okay. 4/2, ping something for 2 when it dies. You can get a 2 for 1 with this guy. It also goes to face, which can be relevant sometimes when the opponent is facing lethal attacks. This can be extra 2 damage. But here the problem is that whether you do play it normally as a 5 mana creatures or do the disguise and reveal version of this, it costs too much mana. 5 mana for this kind of a 4/2 is not a card I'm too eager to play, because it is still going to get dealt with very easily thanks to that 2 toughness only, and the disguise cost of 4 mana is somehow not. It doesn't seem like it's in line with some of the better cards in this list. Total of 7 mana to do it is really bad when you compare it to the top cards in the list. There are things that can reveal themselves with 2 mana, which allows for a great play pattern of disguising the creature on turn 3, and then on turn 4 you can reveal it and then still play a 2 mana card. You cannot do that with Shady Informant. So this is on the 9th place thanks to the fairly weak mana efficiency. At the 8th place we have a Racky Scoundrel, and it's because the front side is like okay-ish. 4 mana, 3/3 Death Toucher. Note that you do get the trigger also when you turn it when you play it face up. You don't have to turn it face up to get the trigger. So usually if you play this at 4 mana, you basically will get an attack in with a creature that you otherwise would have withhold, because it would be trading in combat, for instance, and you don't want to lose that creature. But here, of course, you get the 1 attack thanks to the Indestructible. Now, the better value of this card is given by the 6 mana version. You usually always get a 2 for 1 when you reveal it mid-combat, and this has Death Touch, so it will trade with anything that doesn't have the first or double strike with enough power. But 6 mana is still quite a lot for a 3/3 what you get in the end. So you net a card, but there are more easy ways to, cheaper ways to net cards in modern limited format. So that's why I don't value this card too much. At the 7th place, we get to this kind of a group of creatures that are kind of just big. So you can play these on turn 3, but you can also play this on turn 5. It costs exactly the same when you turn it face up, or you play it face up, because usually you get some kind of discount from the disguise when you first have to invest 3 mana and then reveal it. This doesn't work that way. Now, the reason why it's not a big problem is that you get the surprise value. So this can, when you turn it face up, can be like a 6/6, 7/7, 8/8, for instance. And then the opponent will have difficulties blocking, and then when they don't block, you might get a very good chunk of damage dealt to them. Whereas if this is just a, when you play this face up, the opponent will know this is coming. They can jump block or plan for the blocks accordingly. But there's not much to say about this. I mean, in terms of this and the next couple of ones, they are very similar to each other. So these are big creatures. You can't play them too many of in the deck, but they kind of at least are worth the cost when you reveal them eventually. The same certainly applies to this Crocodile. The reason I put it over the Crowd Control Warden is that I like the possibility of getting the extra clue. Now this is of course also has a hard cast value of 6 and not 5, but I still prefer the clue. Just check this creature type is a soldier. There's also a little bit value of getting from the creature type, which is detective here. But this is very close to the previous one, and this is also very close to the previous two. So the Riftburst Hellion is in the 5th spot here. I like this most because even though it has a very high, cost of playing without disguising, I think the 6/7 and reach is going to be usually the biggest thing on the battlefield, even bigger than most rares and mythic rares. So this is just the raw stats. If you have the time to turn this face up so that it doesn't get immediately dealt with, you will be in a good shape. But now we get to the top 4, which I think are the actual great ones. And the first of these is the Sanguine Savior, 2 mana. 2 power lifelinker that has evasion is always going to help you, in the games that are going to be about racing, and that's quite often what's happening in limited. So this also has the added benefit of giving some other creature lifelink when you turn it face up. Note, this is not an ETB trigger. You have to turn this thing face up to get the lifelink given to someone else. But that's actually not what I prefer to do with this card. I actually prefer to just use 3 mana for the flyer and that's it. So I don't like this card that much in decks that don't have access to both black and white mana, because you can't do that regular face-up playing in that case. So that's also the reason this is on the 4th spot, because that is kind of a requirement that you can cast it at 3 mana face-up. Then we have the Granite Witness, which you usually don't even want to necessarily play face-up, because this also only gets the trigger when you turn it face-up instead of casting it. And this is of course just like for the previous one, it's the reveal cost is cheap, 2 mana. 2 mana reveal cost total, and you can get the nice. Well, the tap or untap can give you even a surprise blocker, but it also mostly just saves you some life total or life points, because you can tap down a would-be blocker, or sometimes you can actually would-be attacker, so you don't have to take that 5/5 damage when you tap it for that turn. And of course the aggressive use of just tapping down a blocker can help you deal some extra damage while leaving you a nice 3/2 flyer vigilance creature behind. The fact this is an artifact is actually a drawback in this format, because there are ways to destroy artifacts that are kind of a free side effects, but this is still a very good card. And at the 2nd spot is the Gadget Technician, and this is just so much value. For 4 mana, you get a 3/2 and a 1/1 flyer, and doing it via the disguise is totally acceptable because, of course, sometimes on turn 3, this is the only thing you can cast. It costs only 2 mana to turn it face up, and you still get the token, of course, whichever way you do. This is just a very, very good card, and whenever I'm drafting blue-red, I'm really picking basically all the technicians I can see. And that, of course, leaves the Dog Walker at spot number 1. This gives you so much stuff for so low cost. It's a 5 mana for a 3/1 and 2/1/1s, and you don't usually want to even play this on turn 2, but it's of course a nice option to have. But the thing about these dogs is that this format also greatly rewards from having a whiteboard. There are cards like On the Job, and then the white-green disguise creature that I placed on spot number 7 on this list. The 1/1s are really relevant, absolutely, and this is really good stuff. So this is the list now, as you can see, but let's talk about these a little bit more, right? Because I have grouped this into 3 tiers. First, we have this what I call a bit expensive, and these are easy cuts because I find cutting these from decks quite often when I have more cards, more than 40 cards, and I need to make some cuts. These are easy to cut. The problem is that while the effects are good, there's nothing wrong with these cards inherently, but it's just these are expensive to use, and that's the reason I kind of usually don't pick these high at all. I usually take these only from packs that are usually quite late in the draft. I usually quite late in the draft because I'm not going to use an early pick on any of these. Then we have this middle pack, for which I said that for mid to late game, and they are worth revealing because you will get a good creature when you sink the mana to them if you have played them face down on an earlier turn. Of course, with these cards, you are not going to jam a lot of these into your deck because these are kind of clumsy still, but I don't mind running like 1 to 3 copies of these cards in my decks. And also what's good about these is that I don't actually care if I'm both of these colors. If I can just turn it face up, I'm usually happy because I don't think playing these cards face up is that important. You usually play this face down first and then reveal later, and thanks to the hybrid costs, you don't have to have access to both colors. And here's the top group, which I consider high picks, and that means that when I know I am in these colors, I definitely pick them high. And in cases such as Gadget Technician and Granite Witness and Dog Walker, I don't even need to be those specific 2 colors, but it definitely helps, especially with Gadget Technician, which I really like to play at 4 mana to get the value immediately. Like I said earlier, for the Sanguine Savior, I usually even cut it from the decks that don't have access to both white and black mana, but these are really, really nice cards. That is it. I don't think I have anything else to say. I try to keep these videos short. This is a bit long now because it's the first time I'm recording this, and I think there's a lot to talk about this. There are some other cycles where there is not so much to say about each card, but I will make a few of these videos and tell me how you feel about it, and is this interesting stuff at all. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.